Watch KSTV weeknights at 7:30 and 11 Eastern, and anytime with Inside On Demand on Channel 103.
Now, Joker Phillips and his staff hope to get the winning feeling back around the program this season on the football field. And they took a step in that direction 2 weeks ago when they hired in our next guest as the Assistant Director of Player Development. Jeremy Jarmon now joins us via Skype. Jeremy, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I know you're excited about your new job.
Yeah, I am. Thanks for having me on, TJ.
For people that aren't very familiar with it, I like to think that you're going to put on pads and go out there and smack people around and toughen them up, rough them up a little bit. But what exactly is your job?
Well, I'm going to be in an administrative position here. So, you know, my relationship with the guys isn't going to be from an athletic standpoint. It's going to be more from an academic and development standpoint. And it's something I'm looking very forward to.
Now, I know you are somebody who, when you played at Kentucky, you won a lot of football games. In the NFL, you supported the program and still do. I know you're optimistic. We've heard Joker Phillips talk a lot about selling optimism in the program, building momentum with a lot of young players. When you look at the football team this season and the program you're getting back in touch with and joining up with, what's the thing that you're most optimistic about looking at the season?
I'm just optimistic about the way that these guys approach the offseason. Because I've been here, I've worked out with these guys, you know, prior to making my decision to retire. So I know how strong these guys are. I know how much time they put in. I know the way that they've advanced in the program off the field. I know how they've advanced in the program on the field. And to me, it's clear that these guys have gotten themselves into a position where they're going into camp a year older. Some guys are going to have to catch up to speed, but mentally, this is a pretty good bunch.
Do you think that, a lot of people talk about this Louisville game, the first game of the season, being very important, kind of being what is going to dictate maybe the rest of the season. Having played in that game, how important is that Louisville game, and do you think it has extra importance for a young team this season?
It's the most important game of the year because it's the next game, which happens to be the first game. So absolutely, it's an important ball game. It's against our rival. It's it's the first chance that we're going to get to show. They're going to get to show each other exactly what they're capable of. It's the first chance they're going to get to show the fans what they're capable of. But the most important thing is it won't be the last. These guys are going to continue to progress throughout the season. They're going to get better.
Do you think that, there are a lot of positional question marks, I guess, on defense because there are young guys that have opportunities? Some fans, I guess, when you look at that, you say, well, those guys don't have a lot of experience, but they do have a lot of talent in terms of where they were rated coming out of high school. Who defensively, I know there's a different scheme there with Rick Minter, but when you look at that defensive unit, do you think that there are the guys that are the big playmaking type of guys we've seen in the past, like yourself, the Danny Trevathans, the Wesley Woodyards?
Absolutely. There's plenty of guys on this roster that have that kind of playmaking ability. In my opinion, with this group, there are more guys that are capable of being those kind of players than there were with the guys that I played with. And that's saying a lot, but we got guys that are coming in, players like Khalid Henderson and Patrick Graffey. And I mean, I can keep going on and on. You got guys that got better in a short time period of coming from high school, coming from good programs. They've gotten stronger, they've gotten faster. These guys, TJ, they look the part. Now, looks isn't everything, but I'm going to say something. The way that some of these guys look as incoming freshmen, they look like they've been in the program for a year. They look like, and I think, Coach Minter said it, they look SEC ready, some of these young guys. And some of these guys like Khalid, he's going to have an excellent opportunity to take over and play in a position or replace some of these guys. Avery Williamson, that's going to be a name that you're going to hear a lot more this year. We've been consistent with being able to replace our starters here. We've been consistent with being able to find in-state talent in Kentucky and producing that and turning that into all SEC-type players like Jacob Tammy, Tim Mastay, Corey Peters, Gary Williams, Alfonso Smith. There's 8 guys that I played with that were Kentucky high school football players that Coach Phillips and some of the members of his staff went in and recruited and developed into NFL football players.
Now, kind of going off that point, you said you talked about those guys coming from in-state that have really developed at UK. I think that's something that, going back even when Rich Brooks was here, when the program was built up, a lot of guys came in, they weren't highly ranked, five-star prospects, but they developed into big-time playmakers in the SEC. Let's say your job is you're putting on a recruiting hat for UK. You're sitting with the prospect. What's the pitch? Is it that we develop talent into NFL guys, or what's your pitch if you're recruiting a kid?
It's simple. I'm pitching. The first thing that I'm pitching is I'm pitching the fan base. I mean, our fan base compared to other fan bases, in my opinion, and some people say, oh, it's biased, but we're miles ahead, TJ. The ability that our fans have, the passion that they have, when recruits come on campus, when the mention of recruits come on campus, the interaction with these guys once they get on campus, it's phenomenal. We stand out when it comes to fan base. That's not just basketball, it's the University of Kentucky. When we get these guys on campus and they get out and they go out and they have the ability to interact with UK fans, it's something that they don't forget. So I know that, that was definitely the case for me. In my recruitment process, UK fans helped recruit me to UK. In the state of Tennessee, I told a story at the women's clinic that how when they were recruiting me, UK was recruiting me, UK alumni, people like that throughout the Memphis area and a few other places in the state, they took the time to send me handwritten letters to express how excited they were that I was thinking about / committed to the University of Kentucky. They sent me letters. They went out of their way to do that. This fan base stands out. No other fan base took the time to do that. I've seen what our fans do when they're excited when players get on campus. That's the first thing I'm selling. And for Coach Phillips, when he sits down in people's houses, he's himself. There's no selling. Players commit to Coach Phillips and his staff because they're genuine. Guys want to go somewhere where they feel like this coach is going to fight for me, but at the same time, he's going to do things the right way. We're going to do things the right way here. He's going to be fair. He's going to be honest. And we're not one of the schools that kind of gets caught up in the whole politics game, play this guy bit if and because he's from here or this, that. We don't do that. Guys are going to come here. If you're the best player, you're going to play. And that's what guys like. And they come here, and it just so happens that, hey, Kentucky over the last few years, we've had success. We're producing players. We're producing players that are coming from out of state. We're turning them into all SEC players like myself. I'm a two-star guard. I'm a two-star athlete coming out of the state of Tennessee. They developed me into an all SEC player, and they helped propel me into my NFL career. And it was the same case for the other 8, 9 players, if you include Micah, 9 guys that were in-state guys that Coach Phillips and Coach Brooks, that they recruited, that they brought in, and that they developed into all SEC type talent, and have an opportunity to play on Sundays. I mean, in my opinion, that's pretty special.
I think you might have answered this question a little bit in that last answer, but the fans, some of them are very critical of Joker going into the season. There's some negativity. You're a guy I know who believes in what the staff is doing, believes in Joker Phillips, and have played for him and now working with him. For those fans who are feeling the negativity or kind of Joker says, get behind the team, don't worry about me, what would you say to those fans to say, have your faith in Coach Phillips because this is going in the right direction?
I would say have your faith in the University of Kentucky. Coach Phillips has said it himself. He says, it's not about getting behind Coach Phillips. It's not about getting behind his staff. It's about getting behind your alma mater. It's about getting behind this college. It's about getting behind these student athletes that have made the decision to not go to Tennessee, to not go to Alabama, to not go to Louisville and surrounding teams. They chose the University of Kentucky, and they chose it for a reason. They chose it because how Coach Phillips told them, we're top 25 annually in attendance. That how passionate our fan base is, what the student life is like. And all of these things combined, academics, the support staff, the support structure that this university offers, those are the things that he sold. He sold what has always existed here. And one thing that we don't want to see happen, we can't have, some fans feel like that maybe I should not come. We need you out here. We need the fan bases because these guys were told that you were going to be here. And I know that if I wasn't in this administrator seat and I wasn't on this staff, I promise you I'd have my season tickets and I'd be coming to the games. Because even when I was in NFL, every single time I had a bye week, TJ, I came back. I was in those stands. It was without a question. And that's always going to be the case.
That has got me fired up. About to go run through the back of the set over here. So you got to get down there and fire up the players like that. Thank you very much.
Let's go. I'm fired up. I'm ready. Let's get it.
We'll be down there. Appreciate it, Jeremy. Thank you.